Welcome to my personal shoulder reset routine. This comprises 4 separate exercises taken from Chinese and Russian martial art, 2 from each. You'll be combining these once you practice them individually. There will be very difficult ones and there will be very simple ones. So let's start with the simplest gross motor version. You're going to use this most often. We'll start with the Chinese, work to the Russian, back to the Chinese, back to the Russian. Alternating, and then we're going to be dissipating residual tonus. So when your body holds muscle tension and you leave, that may seem to look impressive, but that rigor stuck in your muscles adapts to a shortened length, which means decreased power over time and increased micro tears to the connective tissue, to the fascial matrix, and you'll find that you'll be having referred pain and eventually injuries throughout your body as a result of those shortened tissues from not releasing that residual tonus. So, the first is an arm whip. Now the goal here is not to swing the arms, but to twist the spine. As you twist the spine, you're counter-rotating with the opposite hip. So if my shoulder's going back, this hip is moving forward in a way that it's not biomechanically moving, but anatomically resisting the twist. So my hips should stay in one place. If I let my arms loose and my shoulder blades sag, depressed from gravity, I should have the point. Now, if I add enough torque, keeping my arms loose, eventually letting my elbows flex, I'll hit above pec, underneath clavicle, and right beneath kidney at the lat attachment. But it shouldn't be deliberate. If I do this, it's not vibration training, it's just movement. Movement's good, but we're doing this very specifically to release the tone, in particular the shoulder tone of heavy resistance training. So grab some space, work first, just torso twist, letting the arms hang, and then letting the elbows flex. Okay. As we work onto the boxing drill, I want you to think of not striking, not good striking, where you're just extending and rotating to get bone lock in order to deliver power, to sling force. But now we're going to whip. So I want you to think of shoulder lift, elbow lift, wrist, then fingers. Shoulder, elbow, wrist, fingers. Shoulder, elbow, wrist, fingers. So it glides off the body. And if you have to do it staccato, but piece by piece, that's fine. But eventually I want you to just think of slinging the arms forward and then reach back, counter reach with the opposite arm. But keep it loose. If you stretch and reach, you'll be moving into a different exercise. I don't want you to do that. This will avoid keeping the arm out in front, which is more of a specific boxing release. We're doing a lot of overhead training, overhead progressive resistance. So I want you to counter release, to work on that unilateral diagonal tension across the body. So if you do one lift on one side, it's going to have compensatory lift and compensation that pulls that down, shortens it, and slowly you can see it just, the shoulder line is just a bit off, not parallel. That's going to lead to some problems. Usually it'll first be lower back, and then ultimately far hip, knee, and ankle. All right, so we have to sling off. Next, a shoulder screw. I want you to take the deltoid and rotate it over. Come back, rotate it over, come back. Now I want you to separate or protract your shoulder blades. So as you rotate over, reach. As you rotate back, tipping backwards, reach. Wing the scap, reach. Tip the scap, reach. Roll in if you are forward, roll it back. Now, counterpose it. So at the end, you're getting that last little bit of traction. So the shoulder screw will be important too, because we want to wring this X or Union Jack of fascial matrix out like a washcloth. Lastly, this is the most difficult, and I saved this for last, because you're going to start by, I'm so tight, I can't do the shake. The shake is going to require that you've done the earlier ones and regain some looseness in your body. So you'll start just by shoulders. It'll be difficult for me to talk through this. It'll be so much vibrato that I'm going to not talk when I'm doing it. I'm going to keep my mouth open so you can hear the change in the volume shifting from one lung to the next as the tidal volume compresses. Keep the jaw relaxed, keep the face relaxed. It's one of the drills we had to do in Russia, and it was helping for us to absorb shock when hit. So at first it's going to feel very odd. You can see someone who's lifting and very intense, trying to get loose very quickly in between sets, or fighters at the edge of the ring. They'll try and shake it off. Well, that's what shaking is for. When you meet the vibrational frequency of muscle tension, it releases, like a tuning fork, matching a sound. So try and get triceps and the posterior delt, as well as traps involved. Keep your lats loose. All right. Combining all four, you should think of casting the arms, letting them swing, shaking off. So you'll be working through all four of those. That shoulder reset routine done in a conventional gym is going to cause some gazes and some glares. It'll even get you some unwanted attention. What I do is, if people don't respect my space, I go and find myself some room to chill out. If it's in between sets, I don't care who's watching. I don't care what they think of it. I don't care what they're saying. My goal is focusing on my exercise and staying there in the set, not walking away, having to hide for my recovery. Recovery is king. You can do all the work in the world, but if you don't recover, you don't adapt. So my shoulder reset routine, I want you to take it, use it, create your boundary, and use whatever you need to in order to recover quickly, because whoever recovers fastest wins.